The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What is up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline, Friday, April 26th. I know I lied yesterday and said there wasn't going to be a show, mainly because I just forgot that we had changed the schedule, but didn't forget about you guys this morning. It is time to talk about the first round of the draft. Here we are. Got Friday night's draft, second and third round here tonight. But let's go backwards before we go forwards, and let's talk about the first round and what happened with the Cowboys. Speaking of going backwards, they did that. They as expected, they did trade back. You saw it, heard it, and moved back 5 spots, 24 to 29. And after they knew what Detroit wanted in their pick, so they had 4 picks to go, and they had 4 guys that they liked, and they almost lost them all. But they did get Tyler Guyton. I'd like to hear what you guys have to think about or have to say about him. Offensive tackle, Oklahoma. Played a little bit of right tackle. He can play left. But I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. We're going to even show some of his highlights up here in a little bit. 888-855-2297 is the number to call. You guys, a couple of you already know this because you've called. Let's get right to it. Ronnie in Jersey is first. Ronnie, what's up?
Good morning, Nick. Good morning.
Hey, Ronnie. How are you?
Pretty good. I was kind of disappointed the center. I was telling Chris, I'm like, Chris, we had the center, man. I've been calling every time I call. I've been saying I want a center. I want this center.
Yeah.
And they picked up the left tackle, like you mentioned the other day. I was like, we don't need a left tackle. We got all these young guys. But sounds like the guy's pretty big, athletic. You can't go wrong if the Cowboys, if they see something in him, I say, don't jump.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was about to jump off the ledge. I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
And but no, I mean, like Chris said, I was talking with Chris, and I'm like, he said, hey, listen, there's still centers there. We still have this guy, at base, whatever, this and that. And I hope, Nick, we still draft a center, man. We need the middle of our line to get solid. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think they
still
will.
want a center.
I think they will. I think they will draft one. And that's why it's a little early to see exactly how this is going to shake out. Because sometimes there's still some quality there at the center position. And like I said, I tweeted this out, and you guys, if you don't want to hear it, I'm sorry, but it's facts. This team feels pretty strongly about Brock Hoffman and TJ Bass, that one of those guys is going to be able to compete for whoever that they bring in at this point. They're going to have to compete with Hoffman and maybe Bass. And, I think that they feel like Hoffman has a chance to start. So that doesn't mean they're going to ignore the position. They might draft one, but I do think that they feel like what they have is pretty strong there. It's stronger there than maybe what they had at tackle.
The only thing I see with Hoffman, like I was mentioning, is that he's light, and that's what we had with the guy that just left. He was just too light. No power. We need somebody with power. We need that area right there. We don't need, every quarterback. You don't want the pass rush going up the middle. Like, that's what affects them the most, and that's what we need to get cleared up. Once we do that, our offensive line will be solid.
Yeah.
This kid develops. The one thing we know, Cowboys know how to draft offensive linemen. So I'm not so upset about it as long as we get that center. I don't want no hurt players in the second round. I want somebody that can play now.
Yeah.
Center, linebacker, or defensive tackle. But he needs to be now. And I hope we get a nose tackle, because I know you've been saying about Massey Smith. We got one last year in the first round. I'm sorry, Nick. Massey hasn't proven anything, and nothing we've heard from watching other podcasts and stuff like that. I've heard nothing positive about the guy. So I'm sorry. We still need, and he's the only one.
And I'm not saying
he's the only one we have on the roster.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't said that he is good. I mean, I haven't said that he's done anything. I think the question was, would you rather have a center or a defensive tackle in the first round? I said I'll take a center because I drafted one last year, and let's see if he's going to develop. But I mean, am I counting on him to be like this great player? No, I haven't seen anything yet. And from what I've heard, isn't all that positive either. But I mean, at some point you're gonna have to try to develop
that scares me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. It scares me too. I think I would have made it more of a priority for Hankins, but and he's hurt now, and he's. I don't know where he's actually rehabbing, but I don't think he's been here all the time. So which is fine. Which is, I mean, you can rehab where you want on those injuries, and nothing is mandatory yet. But you'd like to hear that he's here all the time, and maybe he will be. But yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and try to tell you that watch out for Mozzie. I haven't heard that yet.
Well, Nick, thanks for taking my call. I hope we pick up a bunch of good players in the second and third round. Now that we got that extra third, I'm glad we benefited from going backwards and picked up a high third round pick, not a fourth.
Yeah.
And let's go. Let's see what we get.
All right. Thanks, Ronnie. You say I'm glad we benefited. Let's see on that. I mean, and I'm not trying to be a downer on this, but I'll say this. I didn't really love the move at first, and I would have taken Graham Barton from what I've seen and heard from him. See, I like getting the best at one position. I'm that way in fantasy football. Give me the best one. And I get it. It's not as a premier position as tackle, but they got the 7th best tackle, which it was a deep tackle draft, obviously. Or you can get the first center, and I probably would have done that, especially since they're both positions of need. What scares me a little bit is the third round. Look at the last 3 years. We're talking about Chauncey Golston, Nashawn Wright, Jalen Tolbert, Osa Odigizua, Overshown, which he got hurt. It's not his fault, but we're talking, what kind of production are we looking at from third round picks? So they got an extra third round pick. Yeah, that's nice. It could turn into something, but if it doesn't, if you just moved back and you've got another Nashawn Wright, you're not going to be thrilled about that. So we'll see. At the end of the day, and I wrote this in my article last night, Jerry Jones said the word sexy twice in the press conference about the left tackle position, and a one that's 6'7", 6'8", can play both sides, can be mean, can be nasty. That's a sexy pick. No one's ever said that about a center. They just don't. And that's so the priority was to get a position of need and a guy that can start right away and pick up another pick, and they were able to do that. And that's why I think that's the goals. Me personally, I would have taken the center, but it's not over yet. Let's see what happens. This fan base is going to be really excited if the Cowboys can do something and get one of these centers in the second or third round that could come right here and still be able to play. All right, Michael in Colton, California.
What's going on,
What's
Nick?
up,
Good morning to everybody. Shout out to the whole Cowboys Nation. Hey, Nick, once again, man, they didn't stick to my board, but man, I woke up this morning and my wife was laughing. She said, "So did they get the guy you wanted?" It seems to be the story every year. They don't get the guy I wanted, but like I said, I trust that front office. They're good at they have a proven history.
Yeah.
You can't hit on their. For the most part, man, they're pretty good at it,
Right.
And but I do like how we got the extra pick. I just hope that they're able to get a running back that's going to actually be a true number one in the draft. And I'm really not liking the Jonathan Brooks, but like I said, hey, they don't stick to my board, But
why don't you like him? Just because he's not ready to play right now?
Not only that. Yeah, you know what? It is that. I don't like that. How every year, not every year, but for the most part, we keep going after these hurt guys to take a chance on them, and I just Benson or the also will be pretty good. So it's pretty deep at running back. But hey, I just want to ask you one thing. We keep hearing the Zeke talk and this and that, and wish him the best and all that. But for his blocking skills he has, and how he kind of lost his step and all that, man, I think he would be a great fullback, man. But I know we already have Lipke, and I like Lipke. But what do you think about Zeke as a fullback?
I don't think he'd be coming back for that. I don't think he's going to extend his career just to hang on and be a fullback. I think he can do some traits though that you're talking about. I think it would be the worst thing to do would just to call him a fullback. That doesn't mean he's not going to do some of those things you'd ask Lipke or any fullback to do. Go in here on 3rd and 7 and maybe be the primary blocker. He may even be a lead blocker every now and again, but he's coming. If he would come back, and it sounds like as Jerry said last night, it's a real possibility that they're talking, and this definitely is a thing. I don't think they're not going to call him a fullback. He's a running back. He's a veteran running back. But I know what you're saying. He can block. He can do some of the dirty work. He's not afraid to do that. And I think he would fit into this room very nicely. But a pick like him might help. Signing a player like Zeke might help if you do draft a guy like Jonathan Brooks, which I have a hard time thinking he's going to make it to the Cowboys because
Jerry's already showed his hand.
I mean, they've done this a long time. They're not going to sit there and rave about a player like that they think is going to be there. So it would be very surprising if he's there. But then again, the Cowboys traded to get a 3rd-round pick. I've seen it 10 years ago. I've seen them take a 3rd and a 2nd and move way up in the 2nd round and take DeMarcus Lawrence. So maybe they're going to do something like that. I wouldn't want them to do that for a running back. I mean, if they did that, they packaged 2 things and went up and got one of those 2 centers that's available, I think we'd all be pretty okay with that. But we'll see what happens. And,
hey, one more thing, please. Hey, I just want to say to Mr. Guyton, welcome to the Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good day. God bless everybody.
Thank you, Michael. All right. As we speak, I think the bus is getting Tyler Guyton. Probably already picked him up and taking him back here to the Star. He's going to have a press conference this afternoon at 3:30 is the scheduled time, Central time that he will have a press conference today, and he'll be a tour all around the facility and get a chance to see. This is one of his favorite teams. He grew up in Texas, and he said, he was a big Cowboys fan, and he played offensive lineman, which made him a Tyron Smith fan. So, here he is. He's going to get a chance to replace, Tyron at that left tackle position. So how crazy is that for him? Good for him. And like I said, we'll see what happens. This thing's not over yet. But they wanted to get an elite position, which is left tackle, get a guy that they feel like they can develop, sooner than later. No pun intended on his college, but they do feel like he's a guy that can come in and play. But he'll get better as time goes on, like all of them usually do. All right, Dylan, Northport, Florida, you're up and you're next.
Hey Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. No rants today, man. I'm just gonna go right into it here. Okay. Very, very happy with first round. Very happy. Wanted the center there at 24. Yeah. Nobody thought he was going to fall to us, but I'll take, as it stands right now, unless they screw up that pick in the 3rd round, I'll take Guyton and the potential for a solid pick in the 3rd round. So very happy with that. I think there's really just 2 centers left that I'd really be interested in that would be considered upgrades over what we have with Biotish. It's Powers Johnson and Frazier. And I think once those guys are gone, you're kind of back in the same realm as what you had with Biotish. So if they're going to pick one, I think it's got to be the 2nd round. Otherwise, they're kind of back to what they had before. But I'm also okay with Hoffman, too, playing it. If they think that he's ready to go at center, you got so many holes. I mean, that's one less hole that you got to plug if they think Hoffman's the guy. So I'm okay with that, too.
As Stephen Jones said, you should have kind of just seen his face. It was right after the press conference to do a little walk-off to the side, and Hoffman's name was mentioned, or Hoffman and Bass, and he said, if you're gonna come in here and compete with Hoffman, you better bring it. I'm sure you've seen the tweet, or different people have said that, but he just said he's a lunch pail guy. He's going to bring it. He's going to compete, and they really like what they've seen from them this offseason, and that means being here, being in the building, trying to get better every single day, getting in the weight room. You'll see a big change with some of these players in the offseason just for how much they're here and getting their bodies right, how much it matters to them. So, I think both of them will compete, but still, you have a chance to maybe help that position by getting one of these two guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Bass is the replacement here for Martin. I think you said that yesterday, too. They see him as a potential Zach Martin replacement next year. So we're seeing the evolution and kind of the passing of the guard onto these next guys. No pun intended, I guess, passing of the guard, right, to these next guys. So I'm excited for that. And then just real quick, man, perfect day for today would be, for me, edge coop, Sweat, and I really like Braylon Allen. And I was kicking myself yesterday. I wanted to ask Nick, too, about Braylon Allen, and I didn't do it because I got stuck on my other points. But I really like Braylon Allen a lot, especially if you have a really beefy middle of the line with Tyler staying there at left guard. I think you've got a chance to have a nice potential for a run game here. And Braylon Allen's that hammer, so I'd love to see that here in Dallas.
Okay. All right. Well, that sounds good. So got a little Texas A&M. Picks there early on. You talk about Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker, right?
Yeah, Edge Coop, yeah. He's probably the best linebacker in the draft, I think. I like Wilson, too, but he's got those injury concerns, and I don't want to go on that road with a linebacker.
Well, the Cowboys they never take linebackers that are injured. It would never.
He's the perfect second-round pick for him, honestly.
Never do
Wilson.
that. Yeah. All right. I got to get into the lingo of these guys' nicknames. Edge Coop.
Edge Coop.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Dylan. Good stuff. Yeah, a lot of options they can go here in the second round. With, like you said, linebacker, running back could be there, and then center or guard, and then interior lineman. But you get into the second round, I mean, anything's open. I mean, they talked about the fact that there was 4 players on the board that they liked, and one of them was Graham Barton. 2 of them were tackles in Guyton and Jordan Morgan from Arizona, and the other one was defensive end, Darius Robinson from Missouri. So that just goes to show, they were going to take Darius Robinson if Guyton was off the board, or not if he wasn't. I mean, if Robinson was on the board, I'm not sure who was going to be the pick there. It could have been Robinson. My point is that was the first round. So you get in the second round. Now you're really getting into best player available. I mean, that's where you'll see that you think they have these needs, and they do at center, running backs, things like that. But if they have a running back that they kind of like, and there is a defensive end, a cornerback, maybe even a receiver that they really like, I think you'll see them stick to the board once you get to here in the second round, third round. They're going to go with good players. They're gonna try to take a center or guard if they can, but they won't change from the board if there's a better option. I'm pretty sure of that. All right, Eric in North Carolina is next.
Hey guys, what's going on?
How are you?
Good, man. Listen, just want to be real quick. It's been a while since I called in and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just want to, thank you for continuing bringing in heat every show, man. And I've been listening from afar. I've just been working so much.
Yeah.
But I just want to be real quick and just, talk about last night. I really appreciate it. To piggyback on the guy that just called before me. Just want to piggyback on him a little bit when I say I like the move. I like Guyton. I like the ability to pick up another pick, and I trust McClay, Will McClay and the guys, man. I trust them, man. They've been drafting pretty good, over the last some odd years. I just feel like we're gonna, really solidify ourselves today with these 3 picks, and I'm looking forward to it. And I trust this team. I've not been listening to the national narrative how this team is so talentless when we actually have more talent than people think. And we definitely have pieces that people don't know about that we've been developing over the last couple of years, and I feel like it's going to take a step forward. So I'm very confident in our scouting department. I'm very confident in these guys, and I feel like they're gonna really patch it together and get us where we need to be at the start of the season. I know it's not the typical, narrative for most Cowboy fans right now. A lot of them are frustrated. A lot of them not understanding what's going on. But I feel like there's something good that's going to come from all of this. And I'm just want to spread that positivity to Cowboy Nation right now, Nick.
Yeah.
And, hopefully, I think these guys are going to do good today. They're going to get us to these positions, and we're gonna be just as good as we were this year as we was last year. I just believe it.
Wow.
So I'm going to leave it at that. Go Cowboys. Nick, keep bringing the thunder, man. Thank you for all you do, brother.
Thank you. All right. Good call, Eric. Appreciate that. And, yeah, I mean, you need a little positivity, and I don't think there's any reason not to be. We don't – like, I understand, like the fans that really love the draft, and who do they have to rely on? They rely on the media that also loves the draft, and we've got guys on our draft show, and they spend a lot of time, talking to people, looking at players as best they can. It's still a challenge. It's an uphill battle to look at 300 players, and how often are you looking at them? That's why the scouting departments have 30 guys or 20 guys or whatever in there. So that's their job to be looking at that. So my point is that sometimes you rely on the media that maybe likes a guy or doesn't like a guy, so therefore you don't like the guy, or you don't, everyone loved Graham Barton, so the fans loved him, and I'm guilty of that as well. Like I'll be honest, when they showed Graham Barton getting picked by Tampa Bay, and they showed, 7, 8 little highlights, those are the first 7, 8 highlights I've ever seen of this guy. Be honest, like this isn't something that I do a lot and watch these guys. I've learned, I've done that in the past, and it's like, to me, it's more of a waste. It's like, just pick the guys, bring them here. Let's talk about it. We got plenty of time till they start getting on the field and all that. That's kind of been my approach. But I respect the other way, because I know there's a lot of you guys out there that really, really love it. So my point is that you don't know what the team is looking at. Nobody knew Tyler Smith. Nobody really knew him, heard of him. They weren't excited about the pick at all. Tulsa, not a great competition, and he gets a lot of penalties. That was the knock on him. And he's second team All-Pro in his second year. He made the Pro Bowl this last year. He's played tackle. He's played guard. He's one of the smartest players on the team. He's one of the strongest players on the team. And everyone's excited about him. And he gives you so much flexibility, because if you draft a guard, he can play tackle. If you draft a tackle, he can play guard. I mean, and he does it, with ease, really. So, really, what my point is that, they know better than us. They know. Tyler Smith, they knew a lot better than us. We'll see if they know a little bit more about Tyler Guyton than we do. And Graham Barton as well, and any other player that they did not take or will decide to take. All right, Ali in Florida.
Good morning, Mr. Eatman.
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I owe you an apology, number one, and I got a couple of shout-outs. Then I got a little trivia for you as well.
Okay.
First, my job, I was explaining to Chris, I'm a freelance photographer, mostly wildlife, but I cover up the natural disasters. And then past couple of years, I've been in Ukraine, and sometimes the bomb stuff goes around you. I think it's affected my hearing a little bit. And at the same time, I usually, when I'm that kind of environment, I use satellite phone. And sometimes reception is not so good. So every time I call back in the state, my boss says, "Freaking talk louder." So I don't know my volume. I apologize, number one.
It's okay.
So try to tone it down. But I want to shout out to you and Chris to give us this opportunity to be here. And shout out to Dr. Sunshine and also Derek to allow you to have the program for us.
Yes.
So having said that, I think, first of all, I love the draft. I got to trust Cowboys organization, what they pick So, it was just like a damn if you do, a damn if you don't. But the bottom was there, I think the center, because Dak weakness is where every time push the pocket in the middle, he always have a little issue. So that's the reason I thought center would be good. But I don't know Hoffman. We never seen him, so they know better than us. So having said that, one thing about defense of Mr. Jones, he always paid his players. You ask any NFL player in history, he never sugarcoat. The man has a passion. He pays. I don't know. I'm not a cap expert. If something's going on, so I got to trust them to lead us to the victory someday. But my trivia for you is this. Who was the tallest wide receiver play for Cowboys at 6'8"?
How many years did he play?
See, you are being tricky. That's not fair.
I'm just asking.
Year,
how many years? How many years? He played 1 year for the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Did he ever play for the Eagles?
Yes. You are the god. I'm telling you.
Harold Carmichael. Harold
exactly.
Carmichael. There you go. Harold Carmichael.
I tried to figure out somehow. Just give you a little curveball, but you figured it out. He's so good,
I didn't realize he was 6'8". God, please.
Yeah, he was 6'8".
Yeah, he played for the Eagles, and he was a Hall of Fame class just a couple years ago. But in 1984, he played one season, and he didn't really do much for the Cowboys. But he wore number 17. That's why I think we need to do a documentary on the number 17, because there's some very unique players with unique stories that have worn 17. And he's one of them. He would be one of them. So, yeah.
And he was so good against the Cowboys as well. He catch a lot of great touchdowns against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't realize.
But love you, brother.
All right. Thank you, man.
Let's go Cowboys.
Appreciate it. Good stuff, Ali. You just keep bringing it. Bring the noise. It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to apologize for anything. That's all good. Derek in Springfield, Missouri.
What's up, bro? How are you?
How are you doing?
Man, I am so hyped and relieved. I was watching that just hoping and praying and just wishing that they would trade back. And, man, they got extraordinary value, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, it's a third-round pick, but we're not picking at the back of the third round. I mean, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, but isn't it like the 9th pick in the third round? Is that right?
I don't even know.
Yes.
73?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
73
yes.
seems pretty. Yeah, it is, Chris. Got it.
So I mean, it's not a second. It's not a fourth. It's early third round. And, I don't have it in front of me, and I'm not going to waste any time with it. But, from the trade chart or whatever, it seemed like we got really good value there, and that's why they made the deal, you know. And my other thing is, dude, I really thought all along that Guyton was their guy. I listen to every podcast every day. I'm dialed in, and I really thought Guyton was their guy. So it's like, dude, to get everybody was complaining about not having that fourth. Well, now you've got a third. You've got your guy at 29. I mean, I know that he has some work to do, but that's every player in this draft. This is a developmental league. I mean, not everybody just comes in and is just, Tyron Smith, in his fifth year, or, you know what I'm saying? You don't come in and all pro. Not everybody does. But, I mean, the kid's got size. He's got, from what I hear, good feet. He moves well. I mean, get him in the weight room. Get him around Zach Martin, Tyler Smith,
Yeah.
And let's develop this kid. And we can't forget, too, this is, I think, our, fifth first-round offensive lineman, within the last couple decades. And look at them. I think they might all have gold jackets on when they're all done playing, So it's been a shitty – sorry, didn't mean to cuss. It's been a bad offseason, and I just – I get a lot of relief from that trade back. I think the front office did something right here. And, we won't know how good this pick and move was until we see 73, what they do with 73.
Right.
So, I'm excited. I think Cowboys Nation should be excited. I think, there should be a little relief. I think they made the right move trading back. So go get me a running back, go get me a center, and go get me a linebacker. And with everything else, I don't care what they do, I would like JPJ. I don't know that he'll be there. But, I trust Will. I really do. So, he's in the position he's in because he does a good job, you know, so. Yeah. Are you excited? What do you think? I haven't got to listen to any of the shows, so if I'm repeating or whatever, I haven't got to hear anything yet.
All right.
So are you excited?
I mean, I don't get excited just yet. I haven't seen the guy play. I'm not going to say because I just admitted I don't watch these guys that much in college. If it's a player that I've seen in college football, but if it's just a lineman, probably, especially a lineman from OU or Duke, whatever. No, I don't necessarily see him. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm that excited. But what you said is right. They have drafted 4 other linemen. All of them, I don't know about gold jackets for them, but they're all Pro Bowl players. I mean, Tyler Smith and Tyler Frederick and Zach Martin and Tyron Smith. I mean, all of these guys have been very, very good. So when they draft a guy in the first round, he's been good. And that's something to be excited about for sure. I thought I wanted Barton because he was the number 1 center, but they didn't go that route. And like you said, let's wait and see what happens in the 3rd round. Let's wait and see what happens in the next 10 days, not just this weekend. 10 days, because you're going to see there's a different level of free agency. You're going to see a few more free agents signed. There's going to be names that There's going to be my prediction is there will be 2 former Pro Bowl players that will join this team. One of them, I think, will be Zeke. I'm not going to mention the other one yet, but I do think there are some Pro Bowl players out there, former, not guys from last year, but still names that and that could help and add to the depth of this team. Give this team another 7 to 10 days. And I think you're going to like it better. I really believe that.
And sorry, I don't want to take up a bunch of time, but one more comment is we do very well with undrafted free agents.
Yep. Yes.
So let's give them time to find those guys too, because we've had success there. So anyway, hey, I'm excited. Go Cowboys. Thanks for taking my call. And we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, Derek. Good call. These fans are excited, and I like it. I mean, I hear it all the time. The Cowboys don't have a plan. You don't know what their plan is. Well, just because they haven't told us doesn't mean they don't have a plan. I mean, it feels like they do have a plan, and it may not coincide with Mike McCarthy's overall plan. McCarthy, he's on the hot seat. I mean, we know this. Everyone knows this. He's going to want a player that can come right in and play. So a developmental tackle, and I'm not necessarily calling Guyton that. I mean, all tackles need to develop. I saw DeMarcus Ware just whip Tyron Smith for an entire training camp one year, and Tyron ended up going to the Pro Bowl that season. So he needed to get it going. I mean, Terrence Steele, I never would have thought was going to be your starting right tackle for a few years here after what we saw early on in his career. So these guys need to develop. Doesn't matter where they're picked or what round or not picked at all. These tackles are going to need to develop. But I think he definitely will be able to do that. All right, Philippe in France is next.
Hi, Mr. Hitman. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
The night was short because of the jet lag.
All right.
Okay, just a comment. If Tyler Guyton is as good as advertised, D-line men in a short period of time won't have to deal with the Tyler's twins. Now, since the left side of the offensive line seems fortified, my wish list with the next 3 picks today is defensive tackle, linebacker, center, in any order. Running backs can be found on day 3. I want to thank all the teams of the DallasCowboys.com for all the coverages for the draft and all the shows that I listen very often on replay. Bye-bye. Take care. Have a nice day.
Okay.
See ya.
Thank you. Thank you, Philippe. Good stuff. I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words, and we feel like we work hard, on this staff, and we get to have moments like last night and today and this weekend where it's some long hours and early mornings. I know Patrick Walker rolled out of here at midnight or maybe close to it, and was here on the bus this morning, ready to go. Nick Harris, and he's probably he's gonna be kind of dizzy with all the draft talk that he, when they do those draft shows for that long, they don't even take breaks. I thought he was gonna pass out last night when he came up afterwards and hadn't eaten in like 6 hours. Chris, can we work on that? Can the guys eat, take a break or something like that?
They can take a break. I told them they can get out of there and go get something to eat real quick.
Nobody wants to do that.
No one wants to because they don't want to miss something.
How about just take a break? Can y'all take a break? I don't know. Hey, I'm not the coach of that show. Y'all figure that out. I don't take breaks. I get it. But it's okay. But thank you for saying that. We got a lot of people that put a lot of work into it, and so it's nice to say that. One of the things that I think you said was about running back and how you can get that in day 3. Wouldn't worry about that, and that's true. You can get that. If you shore up this offensive line and you get some run blockers in here that can really move people, then yeah, you can get a running back in day 3 or after the draft if you want to. But I do think, let's not forget that there's some talented players that are better than others, and you got some guys with some juice that can run, take it to the house, run over people, and you're gonna get better backs. I don't think they're all the same. You're gonna get some better backs if you decide to go a little bit early on that. So we'll see how they figure it out. All right, first time caller is Sully in Florida. Sully.
Hey, Nick, this is, I'm been a Dallas fan since 1977. I don't like to throw out my resume since going through the season. I am not going to paint the Cowboys with rosy glasses. I have not bought, until the Cowboys can prove it on the field that they can get to an NFC conference game. I'm not even asking them to win it. I'm not asking them to get to a Super Bowl and win it. Can you get to an NFC conference game? And I don't care if you lost 50-0. This is the Dallas Cowboys. We're not the Cleveland Browns. I used to say we're not even the Detroit Lions. And the Lions that we've gotten to a conference game. I'm not buying into the Cowboys draft well anymore. If the Cowboys wouldn't have spent a 4th-round draft pick to go get a quarterback that they're never going to use, they never would have had to trade down yesterday. They could have taken Graham Bartman. But now we're going to go with, like Nick, like you said, now they have to settle for the 6th or 7th best tackle, and they could have taken Graham Bartman. I mean, that's number one, because they wasted that 4th-round pick. I think so many Cowboy fans don't understand how great this team used to be. I'm a person, I wish they would, and I like Dak Prescott, don't get me wrong. What made Dallas so good in the 90s that they traded their best asset in Herschel Walker and got picked? And the Rams traded a buttload of pick to get Stafford. That's why the Lions are good now. I don't want to pay Dak Prescott. If Dak Prescott wants to be paid Super Bowl caliber salary, and he can't even get to a conference game. Sorry, Dak, I like you, but I'm not paying you $50+ million if you can't elevate your team to at least a conference game. I want to trade Parsons. I want to keep Lamb because wide receivers' careers last longer than Parsons. Parsons ain't going to have a long career because he's not that big physical guy that I don't think his career's going to last long. And I'd rather have 3 very good players than one superstar. Because I don't want to pay these record contracts because this is what's keeping the Cowboys' hands tied behind their back. As Jerry Jones said, they couldn't pay Tyler Smith because they're still paying for Ezekiel Elliott. It's going to keep happening. You pay Dak Prescott all this money, and he's gone in 3 years. They're still going to pay for their money 3 or 4 years down the line. And they're going to do the same thing with Parsons and Lamb. But at least Lamb can work out his contract. Until this team can prove it on the field, I don't want to give this organization. I haven't done it for 10 years. People are making fun of me. Even I got a coworker. I said the Packers were going to beat the Cowboys because they prove it time and time again. Too many Cowboy fans are so hooked on, well, we're the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, but we're not proving it on the field. We're a marketing team playing football. I can't buy it no more. Nick, I just can't do it.
You don't have to. You don't have to buy it. I mean, honestly, they're not. You don't have to buy it. Like that's fine. I mean, there's so many holes in your argument, man. But that's okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, no,
shoot it out.
All I'm saying is don't sit here and talk about what the Packers have done, and that's why they were going to beat the Cowboys. But then you also said how the Lions are good now. The Lions have been trash. The Lions are good because they sucked forever, and they finally are right. So this team. I agree with that. So this team hasn't sucked. They haven't.
No, I'm not.
So they haven't.
I'm not saying the Cowboys suck. I'm not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they suck.
No.
They just can't get to an NFC conference game.
Okay, and I'm sorry.
There's only two teams.
It's a conference championship game. I'm sorry. If you say it wrong 7 times, I'm going to correct you on the 8th. It's a conference championship game, okay? That's what they haven't gone to the NFC championship game in 27 years or 29 years or whatever. And I get it. And I get it, but it's if you there's different cycles to this. You can be bad, really bad, and get some high picks and build your team that way, and it's cheaper, and that's how you have to do it. The Cowboys have been in the situation where they can go for it, and they've been going for it here for the last few years. So I
agree with that.
So they haven't gotten there. That's it. They just didn't get there. They have gone all in, if you will, these last few years, but they haven't been good enough. There's been things about their running game, stopping the run. Maybe they just wilt under the pressure. I don't know. But, I mean, you're coming in with some fire, but at who?
Yep.
At Jerry? At Jerry for building a team that hasn't been good enough? For McCarthy, for the coaches, for Dak? I don't know.
I'll give my analogy like this. I've been saying this for the last almost 7 years, probably 5 to 7 years. It's fool's gold. We get sold on how good this team's going to be, and they don't produce. And then next year they want you to sell it again. And I get they have to do that because they want to keep butts in the seats. But I can't keep buying the fool's gold anymore. It's not going to. And I'll still watch the Cowboys. They'll always be my team. I have a Dallas Cowboy man cave. I watch it more like a movie. I don't watch it as if they lose, my life's going to come crashing to an end, like it did when I was, the last time my life. I mean, I cried when the Cowboys lost in the conference game at the 49 against the Catch because I still thought the Cowboys were going to win that game, and it was Dorsett's fumble Danny White's. They were going to go down the field and still win that game. It was that fumble at the 50-yard line. They should have still beat the 49ers that game. I think it was Danny White's third straight game getting it, but he never produced either.
Yeah.
But I can't buy the fool's gold anymore. And so
all right.
It's like if your wife cheats on you and keeps doing it, when you start saying, okay, I can't buy it,
absolutely,
I can't trust you no more.
Absolutely different. All right. That's a good cutoff right there. That couldn't have been a worse analogy right there on those two. This is not what's happening. That's not what the Cowboys are doing. Okay, I'm sorry. They're trying to win a football game, and they're trying to win a lot of them, and they've won a lot of them. But they haven't been at the elite status there at the end. They haven't done that. And that's the problem. And that's the problem with this structure of the NFL. I mean, that's the way that it is that, you can go for it And they have. They haven't been good enough. And there's always 30 teams every year that don't make it to the Super Bowl. And the Cowboys just haven't. They've been close. They've not been good enough. But to say that they've been, they've been cheating on you because of that, that's stupid. I mean, I'm sorry. I usually don't say that about an opinion, but I don't agree with that at all. You can not buy in if you don't want to. That's fine. This team they've attempted to go for it, and they've come up short. And the cycle's going to come around. It probably comes around next year. So this is their chance to really go and compete and try to do something. Next year is going to be a challenge unless they really hit on some of these draft picks and they develop some of these guys quicker than you think. And then, who knows that they might have a shot. All right, let's go to Michael in Bowling Green.
I am so excited. I mean,
well, there's
trading,
a change. There's a change.
Huh?
There's a change from our last call. What's up, man?
Trading down, not getting a fourth round pick, but getting a third, and then getting Guyton, who was projected to go 22. We get him at 29. Now, my question: I saw mock draft Sporting News. This came out this morning. I can't see this happening, but they had Powers Johnson Jr., whatever, at Dallas getting at, 57? I can't see him being there, but if he's there, do we take him?
Well, probably. I mean, I don't know what kind of grade they have on him. I don't. It may be a second-round grade. It may even be a third. But, at that point in the second round, you're going to be taking your third round grades probably. So it doesn't really matter at that point. Do they take him? Yeah, probably. But
I would be. Oh.
But who, as opposed to who else? I mean, I don't know. Any position at this point, other than quarterback and maybe tight end, any position at this point is fair game. And so they may not. I mean, if there was a cornerback that was rated higher than your center, I think they'll take him. I think if it was a receiver, I think they would probably take him. Receiver is a sneaky need to me. I mean, Cooks is probably gone after next year. We don't know what Tolbert's going to be, Jalen Brooks and all that. We don't know that. So, I mean, you could draft a receiver in the second round, and he could be your third or fourth guy this year, but he could be number 2 next season. So, I mean, don't discount wide receiver in this mix.
My dream scenario is we get Powers, and then we get a running back, and then we get either a linebacker or DL. And I'm saying Dallas is, if everything works out, they're looking to be a good favorite for going on to the NFC Championship or Super Bowl next year. I mean, this last night was awesome.
Well, that's so cool how these calls are in and out and different. That's great. I'm not.
That's all I got.
Hey, that's fine. Thank you, Michael. See, that's why I love this show. I love this show because Sully, a first-time caller from Florida, you did not get your Dak. Here we go. Sorry, you didn't want it and you didn't get it. That's fine. Michael, Bowling Green. I mean, we couldn't be further apart in 2 minutes or so of a call. And I'm going to try to be sort of down the middle. I'm not saying NFC Championship game because of them taking Tyler Guyton or the picks, the extra third-round pick. I'm not saying that. But I'm also not discounting anything as well. I think they have a shot to do some stuff. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. We got more calls on the line here. Zach in Atlanta. Let's go to that. Zach, Atlanta. What's up? Zach, you there, man? Nope. All right. Let's cut him off. So we only got a few more minutes to go here on this show. The phone lines are open, so if you call in, we can get one in quickly here. But these guys are kind of riling me up a little bit this morning. I was a little surprised by that.
Sorry, I got a call if you want it.
Oh yeah, we got another call.
Yeah, I got it. It's Blair in Virginia. It's
Blair. Yeah.
Shelby's dad.
Yeah. Blair. What's up, Blair?
Hey, yeah, it's Blair, a proud parent of a third-string StoryLine All-Pro member. So happy that he made the team. I feel like I'd love to join him and have like a father-son kind of combo, but I just don't get to call in as much.
You asking for a T-shirt, Blair? Is that what's happening here? Is that what's happening?
Well, I'm probably going to steal Shelby's, if he doesn't watch out. So
we'll see how that goes down. But and we're getting the shirts made, and we got as many addresses as we can. Not everybody threw some in there, so we'll be sending those out at some point. But Blair, what do you got? Are you excited about the pick or the draft?
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I, like you, was thinking Barton, but I got to tell you, I listened to the secret phone call and just heard a little bit more about Tyler's story. And I got to tell you, we don't get this enough. But what excited me was that not only is he a great pick and a good player, and we got that extra pick in the third, but what really excites me is he's a true Cowboy fan. I mean, he says his dad made him a fan at birth. And I just thought that's just – I mean, I often feel guilty for making Shelby a fan. Like, I've caused a lot of grief with these playoff losses. But just to see that someone else out there is a fan and gets to realize his dream and play for the Cowboys, man, so excited.
Blair, let me say this. Okay, you didn't make him a Cowboy fan, all right? He loves you. This is for real. He loves you, and you love the Cowboys. And so, therefore, your team became his team. That's what happened to me. Yeah. I mean, that's the way it is. That's why I say it all the time. You don't become a Cowboys fan. It chooses you because you love your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, whoever loves the team, then you love that team. You know, you can always tell. I always say this. You can always tell what kind of friends you have when you have a team and that's not their team. Do they root against them just so they can see you in agony, or do they root for them for you? That to me, and I'm telling you, I got 3 or 4 really good friends, in my life that are like I call them really good friends. And when my team wins, they're cheering, they're excited for me. That to me is the definition of a really good friend.
Well, I tell you, I agree, and in that sense, Shelby's truly my best friend because he's definitely. We get together, we go to games, as you know. We saw you guys at the Washington game at the end of the season. We look forward to a lot more. But I really am excited about this draft. I'm excited about the rest of it. And I guess if I had one question for you, I know you've talked about this a lot. You've alluded to it. But for you, like, when do you really feel like you can evaluate a draft? Like, I feel like now we're still talking about draft classes from years past and still uncertain on them, because I think this could be, just in terms of meeting needs, if everybody pans out in some way, could be a really, really special draft class.
Yeah, I mean, I think you really evaluate them, though, after about in their third year, because that's when you really expect these players, if they're going to do something, it's usually by their third year they're going to do it. So, I mean, it's not. We have 8 podcasts a day, so like we evaluate everything. So we're already evaluating this draft class. It's only 1 pick deep, but I mean, so it's never too early to do that, but fairly, to do it on an honest and fair opinion. I think you got to wait till about their third season to really see what these players are going to do and really what this draft class looks like.
Do you think that like how many draft players have to hit for you to consider it a good draft? I mean,
I consider the 1990 draft a really, really good draft, and only 1 player hit. That was Emmitt Smith. So it just depends. I mean, the 2021 draft class is looking pretty good because of Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
it's about it, And so it just depends what player hits and how good. I mean, typically, if you get 2 to 3, like really good players and a couple of Pro Bowls in there, I think that's a pretty good class. I mean, you're never going to have the greatest class of all time. That's 1964. You're not going to beat that. That's 3 Hall of Famers in 1 class. You will never beat that. It'll never be touched. So you're not going to get that. Now you're just playing for second.
Well, I tell you what, I love that. It's a great point. I'm very excited because I think Guyton is actually going to work with some really good players, and that should give him a even better chance to perform well.
Okay.
But one final thing for you, Nick. I will say this: Shelby probably would have called today. I don't have any news, but he is about to have his first child, a boy. We don't know the name, so I've been throwing out options for him. But he's a little busy. He did follow the draft last night. No news, but so happy for him. And so your
nice.
Team is expanding.
Congrats. That's awesome. Yeah.
Very excited.
If he names him Tyler, let me know, because I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But I have a producer that says Chris is a good name.
Yeah,
So.
Chris is a fine name. We love Chris. We love Nick. We love Derek, too, because we know he's in some ways responsible for the StoryLine show, which is our favorite podcast on the site.
Thank you.
Love everybody else, but
Thank
you guys,
that's awesome.
you and Chris mean a lot to us. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
And go day 2. I'm looking for a center, hopefully a defensive tackle. If we get that, to me, everything else is gravy. I'd like a running back, but I have no idea where. I just want the thing shored up on the line.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you for the call, Blair. We're going to quickly move on. One more caller here. Dave in Leander, Texas. Dave, what's up?
Hey, Nick. Thanks for taking my call. First time calling in here.
All right. What do you got?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the Tyler Guyton pick. I'm a big draft nerd. I've been probably done over 100 mock drafts. My wife, she's going on a retreat this weekend, so it's just going to be me in the draft all weekend long. I get real into it. A little nerdy, I know, but I like it.
It's all right. Hey. There's a lot of people that love the draft. There's no doubt about it. So, so what do you think?
Tyler Guyton, yeah, a lot of people are concerned, and I mean he's a little raw. My biggest concerns are he has a tendency to drop his hands when he gets out of his stance, which allows defenders to get into him when he can't actually utilize that big wingspan and the long arms that he has. Also, he takes a lot of false steps, a lot of wasted movement. But the good news is he has athleticism and size you just can't teach. And so if the coaches and Solari can get him coached up, which I think is a doable thing, I think he has great potential. But I think there are going to be growing pains in season 1. So I think you're going to get a lot of calls from fans upset if he's, had a bad block or had a big play get done on him. But we're just going to have to expect that in year 1. But I think by year 2, he could be a Pro Bowl, All-Pro type player if he is able to pull everything together.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah. And then
keep going.
The only other thing I can think with him is, I like it when it's a Texas boy because, that they're going to hear about it from everyone around if they're not doing well. So I think that always reinforces it.
Yeah, well, you want them to care. You wanted it to matter to them, and it sounds like the Cowboys has mattered to him and his family for a while. So, if they can keep that going, that'll be great.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, Dave, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the house to yourself and get the chance to nerd out as you said, and enjoy the draft. That's what you should be able to do.
Yeah. So thank you for your time. Appreciate you.
All right, Dave. I'll say there's one more thing before we end it on Tyler Guyton. He played in an offense at Oklahoma that is very, very fast-paced. It's a fast-moving offense with I know Jeff Lebby was the offensive coordinator there, and he's now at Mississippi State. But, I mean, it is a quick get to the line, snap the ball. Now, it's not just an air raid passing. I mean, they run the ball. They do a lot of run blocking, but you have to be in good shape. You have to be your conditioning's got to be up to par because you're snapping the ball every 25 seconds, it seems like. So that right there will probably help him. The NFL might slow down a little bit. It's supposed to speed everything up, and the players around him will speed up, but the actual movement might even slow down. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how his conditioning is because you got to play in that offense. You got to be moving fast. So that is one point that I'll be looking at to see how he adjusts to the NFL game as well. All right. Thank you guys for the calls. We had good stuff. Thanks, Chris, for coming in. We will definitely be on the air on on Tuesday. We'll start this thing back up at our normal time at 1 o'clock on Cowboys Storyline. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you next week on Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?